into executive session. So first of all, I want to call the roll. Cindy, you call the roll.
Curator Chapman?
Here.
Okay. Curator Farmer?
Here.
Curator Graham?
Here.
Here. Curator Lehman?
Here.
Okay. Curator Phillips?
Here.
Curator Snowden?
Here.
Curator Steelman?
Here.
Okay. Then we have President Choi with us in Kansas City as well.
Okay, at this time, the chair then would entertain a motion that we move into executive session with a closed record and a closed vote.
So moved. Second.
Cindy, would you call the roll on the vote to move into executive session?
Curator Chapman?
Yes.
Curator Farmer?
Yes.
Curator Graham?
Yes.
Curator Lehman?
Yes.
Curator Phillips?
Yes.
Curator Snowden?
Yes.
Curator Steelman?
Yes.
Okay. You have all votes in
Okay, the
favor.
board will now be into executive session, and this will be only for curators, general counsel, and President Choi.
Hey,
So
Cindy,
it's,
are you there, Cindy?
Yes.
Can you, before we do this, because we'll get back to the finance committee later, and I don't have my crib sheet. Who are the members of the finance committee now?
I can give that to you. In fact,
Yeah.
okay, the finance committee, Curator Chapman, Curator Lehman, Curator Snowden, and Curator Steelman. Chapman,
Okay,
Lehman,
and all of them
Snowden,
are present, right?
They're all present.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Of this May 23rd meeting of the Board of Curators. And Cindy, it'd be appropriate at this time to call the roll.
Okay. Curator Chapman?
Here.
Curator Farmer?
Yes.
Curator Graham?
Yes.
Curator Lehman?
Here.
Curator Phillips?
Here.
Curator Snowden?
Yes.
Curator Steelman?
Yes. We've lost Kansas City picture. I don't know if you all
Yeah,
have, but
we have too.
we've lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've lost it here too.
President Choi, or can you speak for a minute? We'll see if your picture comes back.
Just testing.
Perfect,
There you are.
perfect. Okay, we're back.
Okay.
You're back.
Okay. All right.
Okay, just a reminder for those who are joining this meeting by telephone, please mute your phone. Please mute. All right. We're talking about now tuition and fees, and I would turn this over to the chair of the Finance Committee, and also Ryan Rapp, who is with, I think, Curator Steelman there. Curator Steelman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Interim Vice President Ryan Rapp will present the recommendation for the fiscal year 2018 tuition and required fees. It's basically the information that we received before. He did add a couple of slides to the presentation to address a question by Curator Farmer and Curator Chapman, I believe. Ryan, are you there? I can't see you. I hope you're
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you, Curator Steelman. I'm happy to present for approval today 2 items: our tuition and required fees and our supplemental fees. Before I go further, I want to note on the first page of the materials that we plan to have each campus bring forward new tuition and fee strategies for the board to consider this fall. This will include differentials for our high cost, high demand programs. As Curator Steelman noted, the mailing material does not have substantial changes as to what was presented in April. I am happy to report that our position has improved since that time. We were projecting an $8.6 million decline in overall net tuition and fees. Due to some improvements in our enrollment and mix, we're now estimating that to have improved by over $5 million. In response to questions at the April board meeting, we did prepare a 5- and 10-year comparison of the undergraduate tuition increases to the surrounding states. That's on 1-4 of your mailing materials. The university does compare favorably on both those charts. We do plan to keep our commitment to maintaining a high quality, affordable education. And to do this will require us to look at both sides of our revenue and expense ledger. We know that we need to find ways to be administratively more efficient and grow our revenues. This will allow us to make critical investments in our academic core as it relates to teaching and research. Additionally, on 1-11, we included a summary chart that shows comparator institutions. They're the same ones that are listed on 1-4, and it was really in response to the question of, do other institutions have structures similar to our supplemental fees? And all of them have programs that assess more than just base tuition. This includes things like academic program or course fees, which is similar to our supplemental fees. That concludes my prepared remarks as it relates to tuition and required fees. I'd welcome any questions the board might have.
Any questions? If there are no questions, may I have a motion and a second? And I'll need that motion from Curators Chapman, Lehman, or Snowden, and a second from one of those three.
I'd so move, Mr. Chairman.
And I second Daryl Chapman.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. Did I just get it? Did we get a second?
Yes, Curator
Okay.
Chapman
Yes.
seconded.
Second.
Okay. If there's any further discussion? Evidently not. Cindy, would you call the roll, please, of the committee?
Curator Chapman,
Yes.
Curator Lehman,
Yes.
Curator Snowden,
Yes.
Curator Steelman.
Yes.
You have all committee votes in favor.
Hey,
Mr.
we have
Chairman, I
been-
move for approval of the tuition and required fees as presented to the full board. I believe that full motion is at
1-2.
page 1-2 and 1-2, if anyone wants to look at it. I'd make that motion.
I'd second that motion.
We have a motion and a second to approve the proposed and recommended fees and tuition as contained on page 1-2. Any further discussion? If not, we'll call for a vote. Cindy, will you have a roll call vote?
Curator Chapman,
Yes.
Curator Farmer,
Yes.
Curator Graham,
Yes.
Curator Lehman,
Yes.
Curator Phillips,
Yes.
Curator Snowden,
Yes.
Curator Steelman.
Yes.
You have all votes in favor.
Mr. Chairman, Interim Vice President Ryan Rapp will present the recommendation for the fiscal year 2018 supplemental and other related enrollment fees now. Again, I don't believe there's any change. Is that right, Ryan?
That's correct. There were literally no changes to this item. And I touched on some of the other comparisons that we provided as it regards to supplemental fees for surrounding institutions. I just remind the board we categorize these into 4 areas. Increases in fees that we've previously discussed and been approved by the board for multi-year implementation. Small increases for ongoing program costs limited to between 2.1% and 5%. Then increases in our high-cost programs driven by demand. And then we've had a couple new and restructured fees. The increases are expected to provide an additional $8.9 million in total for the university. That's about 8% of our total tuition and fees. These increases are discussed with our student groups before being submitted and go directly to supporting their related academic programs. So that they're really critical for those programs that they're related to, but I'd welcome any questions that the board might have.
Any questions? Let me ask one thing real quick, Vice President Rapp, and this is something that Curator Phillips and I have discussed for some time, which you just talked about, differential tuition, and we've been having that discussion for the last several years. And I'm glad to hear that you're going to be bringing us a proposal. When do you expect for that study to at least have a skeleton outline?
we would bring that forward at the fall board meeting, would be our plan.
Okay. And are we looking at just differential tuition or also looking at plateau tuition?
I think we'd be looking, really putting all of those ideas on the table. If you recall, we had a pretty, I know it's been a while and we've got some new board members. We discussed some of this in the fall of 2015, but I think what we're looking to do is really from that discussion move forward with what our actual plans would be moving forward. But we'll bring some of that same information forward that would present advantages to differential and plateau tuition, but then getting specific onto what each campus plans to do moving forward.
And one other question, we have seen the campuses all tied together, which I will say frankly has never made a lot of sense to me. Are we also going to look at untying the campuses so that each campus will have a tuition or a program tuition that is that may be different, more fitting to their needs?
Yeah, and I think we did I'm looking at Cuba in 2007, 8 time frame.
Like
We did, that was when we unbundled base tuition. But I think as we've discussed before, we are going to have to start thinking about how do we price at the program level. That's going to be really critical for us as we move forward.
I have a follow-up question. We've had, mixed reaction from students about fee increases actually for the past few years. And without asking you to be too specific about what the recommendations are going to be this fall, sounds like you haven't exactly formulated it yet. But is it your expectation that the changes in the way in which tuition is going to be done by program and differential will relieve the pressure to try to do this through fees so that the students will know better when they're trying to enroll how much the actual cost is going to be of their education?
I think that's a really good question. I think one of the goals that we'll set out as we start to talk about this summer clearly will be whatever we do, it will need to be easier for students and parents to understand what the cost of the education is. So I think you're spot on with that, Curator Phillips. And we would plan to bring that forward in the fall.
One other follow-up, Ryan, you mentioned you're going to probably bring this to us in the fall. We're talking September, not December, right?
Yeah.
September meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Mr. Chairman, if there's no other discussion, I'd like to ask for a motion and a second from the Finance Committee. I have limited options out there, folks, so that's either.
I'll make that.
Chairman, I'd make that motion.
Curator Lehman, second.
Okay,
I think we have a motion and a second, don't we, Cindy? And that
Yes.
is to recommend to the board to approve the supplemental and other related enrollment fees effective 2017 fall term. And those are laid out in your materials.
Curator Chapman?
Yes.
Okay, Curator Lehman?
Yes.
Curator Snowden?
Yes?
Curator Steelman?
Yes.
Okay, you have all committee votes in favor.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'd like to move for approval of the supplemental and other related enrollment fees as presented to the full board and in the materials effective beginning with the 2017 fall term.
Second?
Okay. Yep. Oh, Chairman Graham, I think you're on mute.
Okay, you're fine.
Shouldn't be.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Green. Was green. Okay.
You wanted to call the roll, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, I said, I must have said that quietly. But anyway, yes, call the roll.
Curator Chapman?
Yes.
Curator Farmer?
Yes.
Curator Graham?
Yes.
Curator Lehman?
Yes.
Curator Phillips?
Yes.
Curator Snowden?
Yes?
Curator Steelman?
Yes.
Okay, You have all votes in favor.
Motion
That is,
carried.
that concludes our business. Cindy, do we need a motion to adjourn the finance committee? Or
You do,
we
please.
just quit? We do?
Yes, you do, please.
Okay.
I'd so move.
I'll make that motion.
All right, Curator Chapman,
Yes.
Curator Lehman,
Yes.
Curator Snowden,
Yes.
Curator Steelman.
Yes.
All right, all votes in favor.
Now we'll entertain a motion to adjourn unless someone has another item that need to bring before the board under general business. We have
I'll make
to
a
adjourn.
motion, we adjourn.
Second? Is there a
Second.
Cindy, will you call the roll?
Curator Chapman,
Yes.
Curator Farmer,
Yes.
Curator Graham,
Yes.
Curator Lehman,
Yes.
Curator Phillips,
Yes.
Curator Snowden,
Yes.
Curator Steelman.
Yes.
All votes in favor, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thanks to everyone, and thanks to, I see members of the university family out there. Thank you for being here. I see familiar faces from the media. We appreciate you being here, and our meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Actually, that's quicker than I thought we would.
There.